My disabled daughter was just watering flowers when our HOA president saw her butterfly tattoo. She called police demanding my daughter's arrest for gang symbols. This entitled woman had no idea she just attacked the family of a former federal minister who wrote disability protection laws. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. The warm morning sun streamed through my kitchen window as I watched my 19-year-old daughter Lily carefully watering the colorful flowers in our front garden. She moved slowly but with incredible determination, her left leg dragging slightly due to the cerebral palsy she was born with. Despite all the challenges life had thrown at her, Lily possessed the brightest smile and the strongest, most beautiful spirit of anyone I had ever known. "Dad, the roses are blooming so beautifully this year," she called out joyfully, her voice filled with pure happiness and wonder at the simple beauty around her. I smiled warmly, sipping my morning coffee and feeling grateful for these peaceful moments. After retiring as Federal Minister of Health and Human Services just last year, these quiet, precious times with my daughter had become the most valuable part of my day. 30 years in high-level politics had been incredibly rewarding and meaningful, but also demanding and stressful. I had missed far too many small, beautiful moments like this one. Lily had gotten her first tattoo just last month, a small, delicate butterfly on her wrist that symbolized transformation, hope, and personal growth. She had saved her monthly disability allowance for 8 long months to afford it, and it meant absolutely everything to her. The tattoo represented her incredible journey of overcoming daily challenges and finding beauty, purpose, and joy in life despite all her physical struggles. As I watched her lovingly tend to each flower with such care and attention, a shiny black SUV suddenly pulled into our driveway with aggressive speed. Out stepped Patricia Morrison, the self-appointed president of our neighborhood HOA. She was a woman in her mid-50s with perfectly styled gray hair that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, and an expensive designer pantsuit that screamed authority, entitlement, and superiority. Patricia marched straight toward where Lily was peacefully kneeling by the flower bed, her face twisted with obvious disgust, anger, and contempt. "Excuse me, young lady," Patricia said in the harshest, most condescending tone imaginable, causing poor Lily to look up with genuine confusion and growing fear. "Yes, ma'am?" Lily replied politely and respectfully, struggling to stand up with the help of her walking cane, always trying to be courteous despite her difficulties. "I need to see your identification immediately," Patricia demanded aggressively, pulling out her expensive smartphone and a thick folder filled with official-looking papers and documents. Lily looked completely confused and increasingly frightened by this unexpected confrontation. I don't understand what's happening. What did I do wrong?" "Don't you dare play dumb with me, young lady," Patricia snapped viciously. "I can clearly see that disgusting, inappropriate tattoo on your wrist. According to official HOA Regulations Section 12.3, visible tattoos are strictly prohibited and completely unacceptable in this upscale community. You are in direct violation of our neighborhood standards and community values." My blood immediately began to boil with rage as I watched this horrible scene unfold through my window. I dropped my coffee cup and headed straight outside to protect and defend my vulnerable daughter. "There must be some kind of mistake here," Lily said softly, tears already beginning to form in her innocent eyes. "This is my home. I live here with my father." "I don't care who you claim to live with," Patricia said with ice-cold cruelty. "Rules are rules and they apply to everyone equally. That tattoo is absolutely offensive and completely inappropriate for our family-friendly, respectable community. I'm calling the police right now to have you immediately removed from these premises." "Wait just 1 minute," I said firmly and angrily, stepping outside and walking quickly toward them. "What exactly is going on here? Why are you harassing my daughter?" Patricia looked at me with obvious annoyance and irritation. "Are you this girl's employer or caretaker? Because she needs to leave this property immediately. She's clearly violating multiple HOA regulations and community standards." "She's not an employee or anyone's responsibility," I said, putting my arm protectively around Lily's trembling shoulders. "She's my daughter and this is our home. We've lived here for 2 years. Patricia's cold eyes narrowed with suspicion and disdain. "Your daughter? Well then, you're both in serious violation of community rules. I specifically told you when you first moved into this neighborhood that this community maintains the highest standards. Visible tattoos are absolutely forbidden and completely unacceptable." "Ma'am, I've read every single HOA regulation multiple times," I said as calmly as possible, though anger was rapidly building inside me. "There is absolutely no rule anywhere about tattoos being prohibited. Don't you dare tell me what the rules are." Patricia screamed at the top of her lungs. I am the HOA. I make the rules. I decide what's acceptable. And I'm telling you that disgusting tattoo is completely unacceptable in this community. Lily was now crying softly, completely overwhelmed by this aggressive, hostile confrontation. Her disability made it extremely difficult for her to handle stressful, overwhelming situations, and Patricia's cruel, aggressive behavior was clearly traumatizing her deeply. Dad, I'm so sorry, Lily whispered through her tears. I didn't know I was doing anything wrong. Maybe I should have asked permission first. You have absolutely nothing to apologize for, sweetheart, I said firmly, holding her close and trying to comfort her. You've done absolutely nothing wrong. This woman is completely out of line. Patricia immediately pulled out her phone and dialed 911 with dramatic urgency. Yes, I need police at 247 Maple Street immediately. There's a dangerous, disturbed individual with gang tattoos who is threatening residents and disturbing the peace in our quiet, family-oriented community. Gang tattoos? I said with complete disbelief and outrage. It's a small butterfly. Are you completely insane? I know gang symbols and criminal markings when I see them, Patricia said smugly with obvious satisfaction. That girl is clearly dangerous and unstable. She doesn't belong in our peaceful, upscale neighborhood. Within just a few minutes, 2 police officers arrived at our home. Officer Johnson and Officer Martinez stepped out of their patrol car, looking genuinely confused about the nature of this emergency call and what could possibly require immediate police intervention. Officers, thank goodness you're finally here, Patricia said with exaggerated drama and relief. This dangerous girl with gang tattoos has been harassing innocent residents and threatening community safety. She needs to be arrested immediately before someone gets hurt. Officer Johnson looked carefully at Lily, who was still crying quietly and leaning heavily on her walking cane for support. Ma'am, what exactly seems to be the problem here? What's the emergency? There's absolutely no problem whatsoever, officers, I said respectfully but firmly. This is my daughter Lily and we both live here legally. Ms. Morrison is apparently upset about my daughter's small tattoo and has called you under completely false pretenses. False pretenses? Patricia shrieked with outrage. Officers, I demand that you arrest that girl immediately. She's violating community standards and deliberately disturbing our peaceful neighborhood. Officer Martinez carefully examined Lily's small, delicate butterfly tattoo with professional attention. Ma'am, this appears to be a simple decorative tattoo, definitely not gang-related. And having tattoos certainly isn't illegal anywhere. I don't care whether they're technically legal or not. Patricia screamed frantically. They're against HOA rules and community standards. I absolutely demand that you arrest her right now. We can't arrest someone simply for having a tattoo, ma'am, Officer Johnson explained patiently and professionally. That's not how the law works. Patricia's face turned bright red with uncontrolled rage and frustration. Fine. If you refuse to arrest her for the tattoo, then arrest her for criminal trespassing. She clearly doesn't belong in this upscale neighborhood. She lives here legally, I said, immediately showing the officers my property deed and driver's license as proof of residence. But Patricia still wasn't finished with her vicious attack. Officers, I'm telling you this girl is obviously dangerous. Just look at her, she's clearly on illegal drugs. She can barely walk straight. She's probably mentally unstable too. I felt my anger explode like a volcano. She has cerebral palsy, you absolutely heartless, cruel woman. I don't care what pathetic excuse you want to make, Patricia snarled with pure venom. Disabled people simply don't belong in premium, upscale communities like this one. They bring down property values and create problems for normal families. That statement was absolutely the final straw for everyone present. Officer Johnson's professional expression changed completely to one of disgust and anger. Ma'am, you need to calm down immediately and stop this behavior. No, I absolutely will not calm down. Patricia screamed like a banshee. I'm Patricia Morrison, HOA President. I have complete authority here. I order you to arrest that disabled freak immediately. Officer Martinez stepped forward with authority. Ma'am, you're creating a serious public disturbance. I need you to lower your voice right now. Don't you dare tell me what to do. Patricia shouted, then physically pushed Officer Martinez with both hands. I know the police chief personally. I'll have both your jobs by tomorrow. Ma'am, you just committed assault on a police officer, Officer Johnson said sternly, reaching for his handcuffs. Turn around immediately and put your hands behind your back. Patricia's eyes went wide with complete shock and disbelief. You can't possibly arrest me. Do you have any idea who I am? I'm important. You're someone who just committed assault on a police officer, Officer Johnson replied calmly, clicking the handcuffs into place. As they officially arrested Patricia and read her rights, she looked at me with pure, undiluted hatred. This isn't over. I'll have you and your freak daughter thrown out of this neighborhood. You'll regret this. Actually, I said with complete calm, I think you should know exactly who you're dealing with before you make any more threats. I'm Robert Chin, former Federal Minister of Health and Human Services. I spent 15 years of my career advocating for disability rights and drafting anti-discrimination laws. Patricia's face went completely white, like all the blood had instantly drained from her body. You're what? And everything you've said and done today has been recorded on these officers' body cameras, I continued steadily. Your threats, your discrimination against my disabled daughter, your assault on a police officer, everything is officially documented. No, this has to be a mistake, Patricia stammered desperately as the handcuffs clicked shut. This can't be happening to me. The only mistake here was yours, I said firmly. You picked the wrong family to target with your hatred. The shocking news of Patricia's arrest spread through our neighborhood like wildfire. Within just a few hours, the story was picked up by local television news, then quickly spread to national media outlets. HOA president arrested for discriminating against disabled teen became a trending topic on social media platforms across the country. Lily was deeply traumatized by the entire experience and spent the rest of that day locked in her bedroom, crying uncontrollably and blaming herself for causing trouble. My heart completely broke watching my innocent daughter suffer because of one woman's inexcusable hatred and ignorance. Dad, maybe I should just cover up my tattoo with makeup, Lily said that evening, her voice barely above a whisper. Absolutely not, I said firmly, sitting on her bed and taking her hands. Your tattoo is beautiful and meaningful, and it represents your personal strength and growth. Don't ever let anyone make you feel ashamed of who you are. But she said disabled people don't belong in nice neighborhoods. Maybe she's right about that. Lily, look at me, I said, gently lifting her chin. You belong everywhere and anywhere you choose. You have every legal right to live wherever you want, to express yourself however you choose, and to be treated with complete dignity and respect. I just don't understand why she hated me so much when she didn't even know me, Lily said, fresh tears streaming down her face. Because some people are filled with so much hate, fear and insecurity that they can't see the beauty and value in others, I explained gently. But that's entirely their problem and their failure, not yours. Over the next several days, our neighbors began reaching out to show their overwhelming support and solidarity. Mrs. Johnson from next door brought over fresh homemade cookies and sincerely apologized for Patricia's inexcusable behavior. The Martinez family across the street invited us for dinner and fellowship. Even people we had never formally met stopped by to express their complete outrage at what had happened. We had absolutely no idea Patricia was capable of such cruelty and discrimination, said Tom Williams, who lived 3 houses down from us. Most of us barely tolerated her as HOA president, but this crosses every possible line of human decency. It quickly became clear that Patricia had been terrorizing and bullying the entire neighborhood for years with her arbitrary rules and power trips. Multiple families had actually moved away because of her constant harassment and threats. She had issued expensive fines to people for minor infractions like having the wrong color mailbox or leaving trash cans out 5 minutes too long on collection day. She tried to fine us $500 because our dog barked exactly twice during the day, shared Maria Santos, shaking her head in disbelief. When we challenged the fine, she threatened to have our dog taken away by animal control. The more stories I heard from neighbors, the more I realized that Patricia's vicious attack on Lily wasn't an isolated incident of temporary anger. She had been systematically bullying and discriminating against anyone she deemed undesirable or inferior for many years. Patricia's criminal trial began exactly 3 months later. She was formally charged with assault on a police officer, filing a false police report, criminal harassment, and violation of federal disability discrimination laws. I had used my extensive political connections to ensure the case was prosecuted to the absolute fullest extent of the law. During the trial, her expensive defense attorney desperately tried to paint her as a concerned community leader who was simply trying to maintain reasonable neighborhood standards and property values. My client was acting in complete good faith to preserve property values and ensure community safety, her lawyer argued unconvincingly. But the prosecution, skillfully led by District Attorney Sarah Mitchell, painted a very different and much more accurate picture of Patricia's character. This case is fundamentally about hatred, discrimination, and systematic abuse of power, D.A. Mitchell told the jury powerfully. The defendant specifically targeted a disabled teenager because of her appearance and then tried to have her arrested under completely false pretenses. When I testified as the key witness, I detailed not only the specific events of that terrible day but also my extensive background in disability advocacy and civil rights law. I spent my entire political career fighting for the rights of people exactly like my daughter, I told the jury with conviction. I personally helped draft federal legislation that specifically protects disabled individuals from exactly this type of systematic discrimination and harassment. The most powerful and moving testimony came from Lily herself. Despite her severe anxiety about speaking in public court, she bravely took the witness stand to tell her story in her own words. I was just peacefully watering my flowers in our garden, Lily said softly, her voice shaking with emotion. I love gardening because it makes me feel calm and peaceful. When that lady started yelling at me, I honestly didn't understand what I had done wrong. How did her words and actions make you feel? The prosecutor asked gently and compassionately. Scared, ashamed, and confused, Lily replied, tears flowing freely. She made me feel like I was a bad person just for existing. She called me horrible names because of my disability, and that hurt more than any physical pain I've ever experienced. Do you still feel safe and comfortable in your own neighborhood? Sometimes I'm afraid to go outside anymore, Lily admitted honestly. I worry that other people think I don't belong there too. There wasn't a single dry eye in the entire courtroom. Even some of the jurors were openly wiping away tears of sympathy and outrage. When Patricia took the stand in her own defense, she showed absolutely no remorse, regret, or recognition of wrongdoing whatsoever. I was simply trying to maintain community standards and preserve property values, she said defiantly and arrogantly. Property values in our neighborhood have increased 30% since I became HOA president. Is maintaining property values worth traumatizing an innocent disabled teenager? The prosecutor asked pointedly. I didn't traumatize anyone, Patricia replied coldly and without emotion. I was simply doing my job effectively. Your job includes calling disabled people freaks and trying to have them arrested? I never said any such thing, Patricia lied boldly, even though the police body camera footage clearly and undeniably showed otherwise. When the prosecutor played the actual recording of Patricia calling Lily a disabled freak and declaring that disabled people don't belong in premium communities, the entire courtroom gasped in shock and horror. Patricia's face turned bright red with embarrassment, but she still showed absolutely no remorse or regret. Do you regret your words and actions from that day? The prosecutor asked directly. I regret that I was prevented from doing my job effectively, Patricia replied with continued stubbornness and arrogance. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours before reaching their unanimous verdict. They found Patricia guilty on every single charge. The judge, clearly disgusted and appalled by her behavior and complete lack of remorse, sentenced her to 18 months in jail, 3 years of supervised probation and mandatory sensitivity training. Ms. Morrison, the judge said sternly from the bench, your actions represent the absolute worst kind of discrimination and abuse of power. You deliberately targeted a vulnerable young woman because of her disability and appearance, then tried to use law enforcement to carry out your personal vendetta of hatred. Patricia was also ordered to pay substantial financial damages to our family and was permanently removed from her position as HOA president. The HOA board immediately issued a formal public apology and voted unanimously to implement comprehensive new anti-discrimination policies. As Patricia was led away in handcuffs to begin serving her sentence, she looked back at me one final time with unrepentant hatred. You may have won this particular battle, she said bitterly, but people like your daughter will never truly belong anywhere in decent society. People like my daughter, I replied with complete calm and confidence, are exactly what make this world beautiful, compassionate, and worth living in. It's people like you who don't belong in civilized society. 6 months after the trial concluded, our neighborhood had been completely and positively transformed. A new HOA board was democratically elected, and they immediately repealed all of Patricia's more ridiculous and arbitrary rules. The community garden that Patricia had always selfishly opposed was finally built with enthusiasm, and Lily was specifically chosen to help design the accessible features. Dad, look at this. Lily called out excitedly, showing me the detailed architectural plans. We're going to have a special section specifically designed for people with mobility challenges, with raised garden beds and completely wheelchair-accessible paths. That's absolutely wonderful, sweetheart, I said, hugging her tightly with pride. You're making a real, lasting difference in people's lives. The small butterfly tattoo on Lily's wrist had somehow become a powerful symbol of hope and resilience for others in our community. Several neighbors had gotten similar butterfly tattoos to show their solidarity and support for disability awareness. What had started as Patricia's cruel attempt to shame and exclude Lily had instead brought the entire community together in love and acceptance. You know what the best part is? Lily said, smiling brightly with genuine happiness. Patricia thought my tattoo was ugly and inappropriate, but now it represents something truly beautiful, standing up for what's right and never giving up. I often thought about Patricia, now serving her jail sentence and facing a future without power, respect, or community standing. She had thrown away absolutely everything trying to destroy one innocent young woman, and in the end she had only succeeded in destroying herself completely. Dad, do you think she'll ever truly understand what she did wrong? Lily asked thoughtfully. I honestly hope so, I said. But whether she does or not, what really matters is that we stood up for what's right. And we won. The community garden officially opened the following spring, with Lily proudly cutting the ribbon at the grand opening ceremony. Local news covered the inspiring event, calling it a powerful symbol of how communities can overcome hate and discrimination through love and unity. As I watched my daughter confidently address the crowd, speaking eloquently about inclusion and acceptance, I felt completely overwhelmed with pride and love. The scared, crying girl from that terrible day had grown into a powerful, confident advocate for others facing similar challenges. My butterfly tattoo reminds me every single day that we all have the power to transform ourselves and our communities, Lily told the audience with conviction. What was meant to hurt me instead made me stronger, and what was meant to divide us instead brought us together in love. Standing there in the warm sunshine, surrounded by neighbors who had become true friends and family, I realized that Patricia Morrison had actually given us an unexpected gift. Her hatred had revealed the love and support that had always existed in our community. Her attempt to exclude had instead created deeper inclusion and acceptance. Her discrimination had sparked a powerful movement for understanding and compassion. Sometimes the worst people inadvertently bring out the absolute best in everyone else. Sometimes attacks make us stronger than we ever imagined possible. Sometimes the darkness helps us truly appreciate and cherish the light. Lily was absolutely right, she had transformed completely just like the beautiful butterfly on her wrist. And our entire community had been transformed along with her. As we walked home together through the neighborhood that had once felt hostile but now felt like extended family, I knew with complete certainty that this was exactly where we belonged. Together, accepted, and deeply loved for exactly who we were. The butterfly had taught us all how to spread our wings and fly toward a better future.